The post-Endor period of the expanded universe obviously focuses pretty heavily on the fight between the crumbling Empire and the burgeoning New Republic. Most books or source books are about taking down the latest Imperial leader, like Thrawn, Dala, or even returning Emperor Palpatine in Dark Empire. There are, however, some other enemies fought by the New Republic, though they usually end up being handled in a single book and never heard from again. Often it's implied that that's the end of the fight right there, but there's one particular enemy which lasts far longer than most people realize, the Ssi-Ruuvi Imperium. The Ssi-Ruuvi famously first appear in the Truce at Bakura, a book set immediately after the Battle of Endor. It kicks off when the Ssi-Ruuvi invade Bakura, a planet on the outskirts of the known galaxy. Bakura then calls for the help of the Imperial fleet. The rebellion, having just destroyed the fleet at Endor, decides to respond and help, cooperating with the Imperials at Bakura to fight off this new threat. This book is incredibly minimalist in fleet sizes, so it's just one quasar which goes off to help Bakura from the rebels, which itself is only protected by a single carrack. Even the invading Ssi-Ruuvi fleet, which is supposed to be the front of an implied galactic-scale invasion, is only one or two ships. It's a very small fleet. The Ssi-Ruuvi themselves are a species from the unknown regions with reptilian bodies, basically being space raptors. Their society is organized into different castes, and they have a very strict set of religious beliefs, with the priests taking a key role in their society as well as their military. Each world they conquer has to be consecrated by the priests, and they're terrified of dying on unconsecrated worlds, meaning that a lot of their fighting gets left to battle droids or the Pwex, another Saurian species enslaved by the Ssi-Ruuvi from their home star cluster, which is also potentially believed to be descended from one of the lower castes. The main unique thing about the Ssi-Ruuvi, though, aside from being space dinosaurs flying giant egg-shaped ships, is their power source. The Ssi-Ruuk developed a unique form of technology called entekment, where they're able to harness the life energies of beings to power their equipment, including their battle droids. Palpatine had an interest in this technology, and because humans were able to provide strong power sources, the Ssi-Ruuvi made a deal with Palpatine, trading tech for access to human entekment subjects. I'd like to do a broader video on the Ssi-Ruuvi and entekment, but I just wanted to kind of give an overview today because we're focusing more on the scope of the war itself here. With the Battle of Bakura ending in a victory for the Rebel Alliance and their new Imperial allies, after some attempted Imperial treachery, Bakura was brought into the New Republic fold, and most people think this was the end of the war with the Ssi-Ruuvi. But information comes up in other places that implies the Ssi-Ruuvi War was far more protracted and long-term for the New Republic. After the Battle of Bakura, the New Republic went from Bakura to the Ssi-Ruuvi homeworld of Lek, finding it in ruins after a Chiss assault. The Unknown Regions sourcebook states that the attack from the Ssi-Ruuvi was technically on Thrawn's Empire of the Hand forces, but that the retaliation came from both the Hand and the Chiss Ascendancy's expansionary defense fleet, who only engage in war once attacked themselves. It's unclear when exactly the Chiss devastated Lek, but we do have some pretty concrete information that the New Republic's operations spanned multiple years. We don't know if this was leading up to getting to Lek, or if they went to Lek and then they went around cleaning up other forces. Truce at Bakura takes place in the year 4 ABY, or years after the Battle of Yavin. A couple years later, in 6.5 ABY, when the New Republic is planning to take Borleas on their way to Coruscant, in secret planning sessions for Rogue Squadron in the book Rogue Squadron by Michael Stackpole, Wedge says, "You two are hereby sworn to secrecy. If any word about this gets out, I'll have you flying solo missions against Ssi-Ruuk strongholds, got it?" So we know that the conflict didn't extend too far beyond that 6.5 ABY time because the Ssi-Ruuvi were rebuilding after that, but we do have a much longer period of time that the war with them is going on and that the New Republic is actively taking operations against Ssi-Ruuvi strongholds, which also means that they have more territory than just the planet of Luek and maybe a couple other smaller colonies. We get a sense of the scale of the war here that's much bigger than what we get in just the Truce of Bakura. We get a picture of a multi-year long war on different fronts with the Chiss and New Republic both invading the Ssi-Ruuvi Imperium. And even with these New Republic assaults on strongholds, we still know that the Chiss are doing most of the heavy lifting here. The Ssi-Ruuvi do show back up in the Force Heretic trilogy of the New Jedi Order series in the Fall War, and it states there that they had been rebuilding for a few decades, but I do like when different novels throw in these references to outside events like Rogue Squadron did here. Usually a lot of this kind of extra information gets left to whatever source books decide to flesh out when it's not directly relevant to an important character for a novel, but in this case we got a good amount, or a small piece of information that really does help flesh out the state of the galaxy a lot more and what the New Republic's doing more broadly, rather than just focusing on this assault on Borleus. Either way, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, consider leaving a like or subscribing for more. If there's another topic you'd like to see me cover, leave that as a comment as well. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.